Hello YouTube. The clown himself, Kefka, is coming back with a BT plus, and Guy, tough guy, the one of the previously worst characters in the game, is getting a decent glow up. I'm here to talk about them. In this video, before you pull on Guy and Kefka's banner, I'll give you some things to think about before you potentially use your limited resources. If you're not familiar with my channel, I play both JP and Global, and I use that knowledge, experience, and other stuff to form my opinions and inform y'all. Let me know what you're thinking about this banner. Go in the comments, let me know what you're thinking. While you're there, like the video, subscribe, consider becoming a member for $1. You get emotes and I always reply to your comments, and check out my weekly stream, the Ranting Hour. Fun stuff. We cover a variety of topics. So let's talk about Guy first, shall we? One of the cases of tragic on LC, but gets a decent buff now. So his kit, he is a lock tank. He locks and enemies target him, and he removes aggro from the party. He gives party defense and HP damage reduction. He also provides Earth Enchant plus some decent support in the form of attack buffs and brave damage up. He provides HP regen, no, excuse me, not HP regen. He provides burst heals on his skills. And he's got post-turn and brave regen. So it's not refund, but every turn after someone acts, they will regenerate brave based on their max brave. So let's keep going. His rework buffs his damage. He really needed this. His skill 1 does 3 single target HP attacks, but AoE brave hits. His skill 2 is a double full AoE, and he gets LD buff start now, so he's got the HP damage reduction off the bat. Additionally, he's providing now additional 20% brave and HP damage up for the party, so his supporting capabilities are increased decently. C90 buffs his EX, it does more damage, and he gives more post-turn party regen. So now it was 30% more before, and now it's based on 50% of their M brave after their turns. Very solid. And he gives himself the Kate Sith effect, which is M brave gain on crits. Alice has this too. This is a significant damage buff for him, and he's way more likely to actually do damage. So quick analysis: strengths, wide coverage. Again, HP damage reduction for the party, defense up. He can heal you, keeps you safe. He's got self-sufficient damage now, because of the self-brave gains and the up stats from C90 and all that stuff. But even if you run him at low investment as a tank, he can do his job there. He can still mitigate regardless of his damage. And he does have a great sword ultimate weapon. So if you choose to lean into Guy's damage and you want to jump to another unit, you're more likely to fit that somewhere else, because it's such a widely used weapon in the game. As for weaknesses, his enchant and his brave damage up has diminishing returns, unfortunately. Again, C90 era, people are more likely to cap their HP damage, so you don't really need as much brave damage up as you used to. The post-turn regen is kind of crept. We have our Garnets, and even Rosa on the other banner does it. It's based on how much actual damage you do. We have Garnet Friend. Bartz does this, so it's not as great of an effect. And on top of that, a lot of C90 characters just refund their brave after doing effects. So like way back, like when the Guy initially released, like getting like a safety net after you HP attacked was great, because we're like, wait, we're safe after we brave attack. But now the designs that they are going for in the C90 era, where people refund a lot on their own, is kind of just C90 era bosses suck. They're by and large not super dangerous, so the need for a tank it's kind of diminished in the way that Guy does it. So it's like, why do I need all this defense and HP damage mitigation when I can just kill them in 2 turns, right? And it's a damage loss when you run him at low investment. And while he can provide that tanking role if you really need him in your back pocket, it's always faster to just kill bosses rather than letting them hurt you. So as for his teams, he's flexible. You can really lean into brave gains with the post-turn brave regen and the Kate Sith effect he has to really amp his damage, but he can just stand there and enchant and tank, so it's not that big of a deal. Future fights will he'll shine. Divine Leviathan, where you need to take some damage reduction, you just bring a tank there, but he can hit that potentially. And Kieran's BT fight, where you need 5 stacks of a buff, so he could provide some mitigation there. That's about it. Alright, now let's talk into the headliner of the banner. Kefka. Kefka is getting a BT plus rework and all the good stuff in a C90, so let's talk real quick. If you're not familiar with this role, he's a mass debuffer. He drops 6 buffs on the enemies. Attack, speed, and defense down, generic. They're pretty high though. I think it's like 80% attack, 60% speed, 80% defense. These are high. Numbers don't matter. They're high. You notice these. HP silence. He's one of the 2 HP silencers. I think is Agrius? No, not Agrius. Arciela. Are they only 2 with HP silence? Whatever. HP silence is rare in this game. And he can drop blind on. He can drop HP silence and blind on demand. He's got sap on his framed EX buff. So it's 6 buffs, 6 debuffs he's providing. He can frame them all with his LD, so he can really lock a lot of enemies out from buffing themselves. His rework, he does more damage. However, he did not receive an LD board rework. His LD still functions the same. He'll apply his 3 attack speed, defense, and frame, all his active debuffs. So nothing really to talk about there. C90, EX does more damage, boring. And Meteor Plus, the special Brave attack he gets after using EX, is now full AoE 1 HP attack. So it's more damage. More damage everywhere, boring. As for his BT Plus, what he already had before was he gives the party HP damage up based on 5% per debuff on the enemy. So for a total of, because the max amount of debuffs that an enemy can have is 8. So it's potentially 40% HP damage up per target. With his BT Plus, however, I'm putting this in asterisk, what else he got new? He got 20% HP cap, so that's alright. And now he got Brave damage up per target based on how many debuffs they have, up to 80%, because we got 8 debuff slots, and his effect got bumped up to 8 turns. So it's alright. Brave damage up and that defense down means you'll definitely be hitting hard whenever Kefka's BT effect is active. So analysis, Kefka provides really strong debuffs. HP silence is goated because anything dangerous just becomes noped out of existence unless they're immune to it, or unless they cleanse before an attack or something like that. HP silence is a really strong debuff. When it works, it trivializes fights. HP cap on the BT effect, that's very good. We like that. Everyone's getting used to ultimate weapons. You definitely notice that extra HP cap now. And he has a unique ultimate weapon, which is a popular slot. So you can slow it down, throw it on him, throw it on others potentially. You'll notice it. As for weaknesses, he has okay damage at best. He's got 2 HP attacks on his skill 1 and 3 on his skill 2. That's not the greatest HP damage, mind you, or amount of HP attacks, I should say. His debuffs are a benefit and a curse, because while you can block out enemies from buffing themselves and really cripple them, the cost of that is potentially at your own debuffs or having to manage Kefka's. That can get annoying and limit your team building. He is fast, his skills are fast. I think every skill is high turn rate except LD, so he can potentially eat through his BT effect, which is obnoxious. And the bosses aren't that threatening to really warrant those debuffs. And even the the defense down, C90 stats, everyone with the insane BT effects we have in multiple weapons, huge diminishing returns, so you won't really notice that as well. As for teams, you just play around his debuffs. And don't bring tanks versus HP silence, because there's no point. It's either your tanks aren't going to tank and benefit from that, or it's just anti-synergistic. But that's just a minor thing. Otherwise, just throw Kefka wherever. He doesn't really care about anybody, the bosses or his teammates. As for future fights where Kefka might shine, there's the Thancred raid that needs a sap, but that fight is a complete joke. So pulling Kefka for that really doesn't make any sense. Raijin's intersecting will, where you need to stun a boss because his HP silence can lock out the boss from acting and hit the orb. And just anywhere where HP silence works, like it'll just work. It's pretty funny. It's not really immune. There's not really an HP silence immunity anymore, like in mass. So you just go wild with it. What are my plans though? Skip. I actually have everything on this banner, so there's no reason to pull in the first place. But even if I didn't, I wouldn't invest in any of them. I wouldn't invest in guy. I wouldn't blue guy. I wouldn't BT plus Kefka. It's just I don't think Kefka's very good. Personally, his personal damage is not the greatest. No attachment to the characters, and I don't think the tanking gimmick that Guy brings is very valuable, especially because I already have a lot of tanks in my roster anyways, and running Guy wouldn't really give anything to me personally. So, final part of the video, before you pull on this banner, what are my thoughts, just from a meta perspective? If you can't decide, here's some things to think about. If you already decided, do what you got to do, but just if you're on the fence, here's some things to consider. I don't think this banner is very good. Kefka full investment, I don't think he's great, honestly. Again, low damage. It's kind of what I just said before. Not the greatest damage. He eats through his BT effect. HP silence either works well or it doesn't. And on the HP silence front, I think I would much rather, I don't think there's anything that warrants it up until Arciella, and I think Arciella is a much better unit overall. So if you really want that HP silence, I'd wait until the Vaughn banner for her personally. As for Guy, again, he got a C90 buff, but even then, while he's a lot more viable now and can do content a lot better, I don't think he's worth going for. especially if you need some sort of mitigation. We have Layla around the corner, who is super broken. I think she provides some of the same levels of HP damage mitigation that Guy does. It's pretty close. And on top of that, the party heals and the free turns and the stuff, I think she kind of just stepped on his toes in that role regard. While she's not providing a enchant, again, diminishing returns on enchants in C90 era, so it's not as easy of a sell as it was before. Saying, oh, you can enchant to buff your damage, but do you really need that much damage buff? And again, we live in a post-Garnet world, so you could probably just damage through these things anyway. So yeah, I think this banner is overall, if you're on the fence, this is not it. Even if you don't have a single tank, I'd say at worst, wait for Layla, and even more worse, Zach is a month out. So yeah, not this. I don't think this banner is it personally. But that's all I got. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. I'll catch you later. Have a good one. Peace.